I'm Leslie Weidenbender. Welcome to Comcast Newsmakers. I'm here today with Representative Steve Braun. He's a Republican from Zionsville. Welcome.
Well, thank you, Leslie. Thanks for having me.
So this is your first legislative session?
It is, in fact, my first foray into politics, period.
I see. Well, tell us how it's going so far.
Oh, it's been wonderful. You know, I was telling somebody the other day, I think this last 2 months have been the most I've learned in a 2-month period in my entire life. So very fascinating, very rewarding experience.
Now, you previously owned a tech company.
I did, yes.
And how is your experiences there? How's that shaping the way you look at legislation?
Well, you know, I think it's interesting. I didn't quite realize this when I got into it. Coming from a business background, I do believe that it needs to be a strong emphasis on running government with business principles involved, but my actual background is running an information technology company. So basically what we did is we helped big corporations gather their data assets from across the corporation, organize them, analyze them, and use them to become more efficient or grow their business. During that time, it was always very apparent to me that there were two key areas of our economy that were behind the curve in terms of information technology. Healthcare was one, government's the other one.
Yeah.
So being one of the few people with information technology experience in the legislature, it's been very gratifying the number of times people have come to me to ask about technology issues.
Well, that's great. So you have been a co-author on one of the big bills of the session, which is House Bill 1002, a career council bill. Tell us what that bill would do and why you think it's important.
Well, obviously, very important bill, authored by the Speaker himself. Primarily asked me to co-author because of my information technology background and my business background. It is primarily designed to create a council that brings all the key constituents together, ranging from the governor to all the business community to people in the legislature and other people in the education community that all have an impact. But what we're trying to do here basically is make certain that we have a very effective understanding of what the current job situation is out there in terms of skills related to that, both present and future, and that we use that information to train the people that are out of work very effectively. We've had 250,000 people out of work for about 6 years now. We've had 100,000 jobs at least open during that whole time. So we need to be more efficient, more effective in terms of making sure.
Sort of what we talk about as the skills gap, right?
It's the skills gap, exactly.
How long do you think it would take, if this is successful, to start to close that gap?
I think it's going to be an effort, so it's not something that's easy. It starts with having the right workforce intelligence, and that is what I do, which is basically having a system that gathers all that information about the open jobs and the related skills, and then being able to disseminate that down into the people that are responsible for training, primarily the Department of Workforce Development and all the people that they subcontract to train, and then as importantly, get that information out to the education community, specifically higher ed, so that they are structuring their curriculum in a way that's addressing and building the skills that are needed by the future workforce. So it'll take time to get all that together. In my opinion, it starts with having that good workforce intelligence system in place, and then making certain that all the other agencies that are designed to train, educate, and all the other aspects have the right amount of funds and the right mandates to do that.
We have a very short amount of time, but I wanted to ask you about the mass transit bill.
Sure.
You're a supporter, and can you briefly tell me why?
Yeah, you know, first of all, I lived in Chicago for 15 years, and mass transit was absolutely critical as it relates to the growth of that community in terms of a very strong downtown and not having to continue to sprawl out. I think
Representative, I am so sorry to have to cut you off. My fault for asking you a tough question at the end. But thank you for being here.
Thank you.
I'm Leslie Weidenbender, and this is Comcast Newsmakers.